My name is Mrs. Uche Ifezwe. I'm Oludinachi Ogechukwu Ifezwe's mom. My son has been in Rosemore for 6 years. We started at Rosemore from year one up until year six. Our experience at Rosemore has been quite fulfilling. It's been a journey. It's been an amazing journey at Rosemore. I remember the first day that I stepped into Rosemore to make inquiries about the school. And I met a parent that said, "Oh, are you thinking of Rosemore? Please stick with them. I think she said about 2 or 3 kids, and one of them got a scholarship to another school, and they were thinking of bringing that child back." And I was like, "Oh, wow, really?" And that was how the love journey with Rosemore began. And I must say that it was one of the best decisions that we've taken for our dear son Uludinachi, academic wise. We're happy we did. There's no regret whatsoever. We thank God that our path was directed to Rosemore. The experience, I would say, regarding care and well-being, no regrets, no regrets. Rosemore, he started his nursery journey in a family-like kind of school setting, if you know what I mean. And then he transitioned to Rosemore, and then it was more of a familiar ground. It was more like a close-knitted family setting, which we loved so much. The care was super. Our son was well taken care of. There's been no reason for us to worry, right? Like as a parent would always, hope for the child's well-being. The school was always on top of that game when it comes to caring for our little ones, right? Times of little injuries, when they call, they've taken the first, steps already in curbing the situations and all of, and that was quite very, very thoughtful and then quite impressive. Ulu was well taken care of here in Rosemore, and we're grateful for all of that. We're not worried to have him stay in school because we know that he had the best of care also while he was at school. Regarding the academic milestones, I would say that, as a parent of a child that's, so to say, doing well, you would think, okay, maybe there's not so much that it's able to be done because you think, but not with Rosemore. For every milestone academically, it was amazing. Because these kids, at that age, they have the capacity, and I was a bit worried if those capacities can be handled. You get, but it was amazing to see that Rosemore was able to stretch my son and filling those capacities. We watched at every step how he was doing so well academically, all thanks to his teachers all the way. It wasn't, there was no shortfall. It was amazing. It was amazing to have your child side by side, other students, and then you see them admiring your child just because of what Rosemore has impacted. We're not scared to have them go for competitions. Despite the fact it was a small school, you wonder, oh my goodness, how are they going to compete with people that are hundreds in school? But the capacity that Rosemore has is quite bewildering, and we're grateful for that. Social and moral development. So I have a son that is not so sociable. We're worried because he usually doesn't have a lot of people around him. So we're kind of worried how would he, cope socially and fit in. But amazingly, Rosemore is not just all about academics. It's a holistic school. They're about the holistic well-being of a child. We began to see our son socialize more. Interestingly, morally, whatever he took from home was, worked upon and expanded upon, even in school. We saw that our beliefs, our standards were not far from what the school had, and which was quite soothing to know that, your son is not drifting away when he's in school. The school is concerned about their social well-being, moral well-being, all round, molding a holistic being. It's quite interesting that we got all of this from Rosemore. It was a total package, I must say, and we're grateful. The learning environment, quite serene. It's quite serene. From the first day we stepped into Rosemore, the standards didn't drop. It didn't drop. You would think that with the way things were moving in the country, some standards might be affected. It was not the case with Rosemore. The learning environment has been top notch, quite conducive. Quite conducive, I must say. You walk into Rosemore School at any time of the day during school hours. You're impressed as a parent that you have a child in this environment. It's amazing. I can't say it's enough. The teaching and learning style. The teaching and learning style is quite inclusive. So some people might want to complain, oh, they drill them too much. I don't have an issue with their teaching and learning skills, because I know for sure that these kids, they've got the capacity to take in as much as they are able to take. Some people might think, oh, they are being bombarded with so much work. They don't have a breathing space. I'm very comfortable with the teaching and learning style. It's quite inclusive. They take each child on a solo journey. Yes, solo journey, because I know that when my son got into Rosemore, initially, my son wasn't a reader. Oh, no, he wasn't a reader at all. He was that kid that you give him a book to read or anything to read. First of all, he flips to the back page and says, oh my goodness, 20 pages? This is a lot. And I was worried. How are we going to have a kid that is not a reader, But amazingly, as it started in Rosemore, I don't know what happened. I do not know what happened, but the push with other students all of a sudden turned my son around. And then proudly I can say that my son sits down in a day after school and he reads like series, books in series, a book each of like 300 pages. He would do like 4 in a series in a day. I give all the credit to the learning and teaching style. They push the kid because they have the capacity. Why not? So I'm very comfortable. He's such a reader right now. He reads everything. He goes over and over, and I'm amazed. This was a kid that never used to like to read the smallest book. So the teaching and learning style, amazing. It worked. It worked for us, and we're glad that that's the foundation that he got from Rosemore. To share my memorable moment in Rosemore, that would be difficult because we have so many memorable moments. So many memorable moments that now it's kind of mixed feelings for us because this journey is about to end. So many memorable moments. The coming together to celebrate birthdays was amazing. You know, the one-on-one with the teachers those days, that's, you know, the open days. Yeah, it's always very memorable to walk into Rosemore to, you know, get feedbacks on our kid and then see him play with other kids and learn, you know, anytime to come into Rosemore for any reason, right? We've been grateful that we've never been called upon for any bad reason. So it's always very memorable to come in here because we know that the journey is just but for a while. Yeah. Small. Just what that parent told me when I walked into the reception. Don't sleep on it. Rosemore is a good choice. We made that choice 6 years ago, and we can never be grateful enough for making that choice. I say this with my full chest, like they say, Rosemore is the real deal. Don't look down on the small building. It's small but mighty. Rosemore, it is. To any parent considering, please, uh, this is your sign. This is the place to be. Bring your kids here, and you won't be more proud to be a Rosemore parent. It worked. It sure worked. We're ready for secondary school. We're ready. We're ready.